to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to the start of this season. It's the first match preview of the season. It's the first match preview back in the Premier League. It's great to be back. And today we're joined by none other than Mr. Main Man, Sam Yuko. Sam, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good. Do you know what? It's but before we went on air, you just gave it a short and it's live, and that's what gets me excited for the Premier League season. Hearing those words from Martin Tyler, and we're back as well. We're back fully now for proper 21-22 content. Sorry, buzzing for it. It's we'll talk about this in the preview, but for me, it's a season that's more than just about football. Being back at the grounds, so excited.
Legend Sam, and the other main man, Mr. Hornet Shane. Shane,
he's back. He's back.
Yes. You just mentioned Martin Tyler there. We are no longer listening to the likes of Keith Andrews and Gary Weaver and the Sky VFL team. It is time. We are back. It's the big guns, isn't it? It's Martin Tyler. It's Jamie Carragher. It's Gary Neville.
I'm going to miss Don Goodman, to be honest.
I will as well.
Talking about Villa, do you want to tell you a quick story about getting a personalised message from Keith Andrews?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you know what? Actually, it was a quiet afternoon. I got a message from Jacob for everyone that's watching this, and it was a message from Keith Andrews reaching out to me, and he called me by my name, and I almost melted, to be honest with you. Listen. Look, I will just say we didn't cover this last season, but I was watching back some of the old highlights from our championship campaign, and there was a moment. I think one award that wasn't covered last season was commentary line of the year involving Watford, and it was Watford Nottingham Forest. Keith Andrews was co-commentator.
Knockout. Where's Knockout?
Knockout dive, and then the words came out. Where's Knockout? Is he diving again?
Yeah.
I mean, I had to rewind that live and watch it back again. And if it was down to me, it would have won a BAFTA for the best sports broadcast of the year, just for that moment alone. To be honest with you,
Shane was truly back. Iconic lines, Caroline. Thank you to everyone who's watching today. We really do appreciate it watching live, and obviously it'll be ready to watch back if you're watching this not live, and getting your comments in the comment section below. If you're in the live chat, we'd love to hear from you. How you feeling going into Saturday's game? And I think that's probably the best place to start, Sam. You know what? Excitement levels are through the roof at the moment. To be back in the Premier League, to be doing Premier League content again. You know, just on the channel, we started doing it in the Premier League, and it felt weird the first season not doing it in the Prem, and to be back talking about Watford in the top flight. It just feels like this is home for us now. And you know, look, 5 seasons in the Prem, we're back in the top flight. And Sam, looking ahead to Saturday against Villa, are you feeling confident? Because I've seen a mixture of opinions online at the moment.
Wow, never giving me the easy questions to start the season off with. But it's a really difficult one. I feel like regardless of what league you're in, you know, we had it last year, Middlesbrough at home on the first day. The year before that, Brighton at home on the first day. You never really know what to expect from either team because we don't, you know, we were saying just off air, the person who gets the lineup correct is going to be, you know, he must have vision of the future because it's literally impossible to predict our team. Villa seem to have a lot of players who are touch and go, not sure if they're fit, not sure if they're injured. So it's a really, really difficult one to call, difficult to see how we'll set up. So, but I'm confident. For me, I'll just get this out of the way now. Saturday is more than just about the football for me. Obviously, I don't want to see us get battered, but it's about more than just the result. Being back at Vicarage Road, the Graham Taylor match day, being back, you know, at a social event with other Watford fans is going to be absolutely brilliant. So for me, that's the main thing I'm excited for on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely bang on. Definitely echo that, Sam, to be back at the Vic. Just seeing the old faces again, meeting up with Shane pre-match, going for a pint with your mates. Absolutely. I missed that so much. I mean, even, you know, the little things, just like I saw your tweet, Sam, the pre-match music, you know, Convoy Run, Heart of Courage, you're getting all the tunes on, mate. Honestly, I'm thinking about it.
There's also, sorry, just quickly, there's always that one, the music they play before Z-Cars, there's always like that 2-second gap in between the two, the whole stadium's silent, and then you get, I'm just so excited for everything. It's the small things though, like, you know, I got the new shirt the other day and it smells of football. I can't explain it. The smell of match programs, everything. It sounds so weird. I'm just so excited to be back at grounds and just getting everything. I need everything back into me. That's it.
Shane, are you the same as Sam, just buzzing to get back to Vicarage Road? And to be honest, mate, what's your thoughts on Watford at the moment? I haven't actually heard from you, I don't think, on the channel. So I think a lot of people will be interested to hear what you make of the current squad.
Yeah, you didn't make a comment there. The fact that you've missed seeing me on match days. Let's see how Saturday goes first, and then you'll decide whether or not it was better to be at home and not actually at the game. So, no, listen, I think it's been echoed, isn't it? So many times for so many people. Football is back. Fans are back inside the stadiums, and I think the little things have always gone under the radar a little bit. Z Cars, hearing that for the first time, and one from my perspective is there's a small gap between when the away fans score and when the noise actually comes through. That is just I don't want Aston Villa to score, but you know what? If I hear that again, it'll be like nature is healing in a way.
Yeah.
It's just one of those.
I'm going to be honest with you.
You can't describe, but when you hear it, the feeling of it, you really experience that nowhere else apart from at live sport. It's
exactly. And with all the whole, the whole crowd noise and all that stuff never really happened on time. As soon as a goal was scored, sometimes happened slightly too early, and and a chance was missed, etc. But that first goal back, the first goal that we score, hopefully, touch wood, we get that on Saturday. The roar from the Rookery, the roar from the whole ground is going to be superb.
Until VAR rules out, of course.
In fairness, just
that will be a sore moment.
Sorry, mate. Jamie Carragher did a really good interview with a couple of the referees talking about VAR. And what will be interesting to see, I was a big fan of it during the Euros because I thought it was a bit more leeway and it wasn't as robotic, I think, the VAR, the way they used it. If they can implement that in the Premier League, then I'm sure that will go down really well with supporters. Shano, we're just on Watford, just talk about pre-season. Me and Sam have talked about it a lot on the channel before heading into the season. How much have you read into the pre-season results and performances of this Watford squad?
I've always said pre-season's about building up fitness. It's about building up your tactics in a weird kind of way. I've never really read too much into the results. Obviously, this season, last season, but specifically this season's always been a bit different for us. We've gone off to Austria. We've had lots of great pictures of the players training, like the Austrian hills, and Ben Foster takes us out on a bike ride or something like that. But we've not really had that this time around, and I feel like I never paid too much attention anyway to pre-season. I think I wasn't at either of the pre-season matches, for example. I didn't go to the Palace game, didn't go to the game at West Brom and all of that because I kind of wanted the anticipation to be building up to Saturday. I don't want it to be like, okay, my first game back is West Brom. No one really wants that unless you're a West Brom fan. But to be honest, I wanted the build up to be on kind of heading towards Saturday. My overall thoughts on it, you can understand some of the uncertainty around it because the results of someone haven't necessarily been great. We've scored 2 goals in pre-season, Ken and Troy with the goals, I think. Aside from that, it's not really been massively encouraging, but it's just about building up fitness. It's about building up a kind of understanding of what the season's going to bring. And you kind of said it, I think, at the start, last season was the first season we've kind of done the channel when we weren't in the Premier League, and that felt weird. I'm not sure if it would have felt weird had we been at games, for example, but I feel like last season there was a very clear objective of promotion. And I think that was kind of drilled in beforehand. The fact that we've now secured that, the next step is survival, and that's a bit of a change, isn't it? Promotion is positive. Promotion is winning games, getting results, making teams look slightly ordinary compared to yourself. Whereas in this division now, we are here to survive. And I personally am confident. We've had a chat off air and all that, and I'm relatively confident that we do have the skills to pay the bills, as it were. But I don't know how that's all going to work out. Saturday's going to be a huge indication for us. And we'll just have to take it from there. I do feel like that. I will say one thing. A couple of seasons ago, we lost the first couple of home games of the season. Lost our first 3-4 matches of the season. That set the tone. Saturday is going to set the tone. If we get a win, no matter how we get it, it's the win. First one off. The first one of hopefully many. Remember, a couple of seasons ago, we didn't get that first win at the Vic until December against United. That cannot happen this time around. Gotta look at the first 2 months. got to get that first win under our belt and then kind of grow from there. But I'm confident, but I'm just happy to be back at a football game supporting the club that we all love. And I think I'm sure everyone watching this back will be feeling exactly the same thing. There's a level of expectation this season, but the fact that I'm seeing you, the fact that I'm seeing everyone, and the people that I don't really like and the people I do like is a good thing.
Sam, just looking ahead to Saturday, how do we beat this Villa team? It's a different side to last season. Obviously, with Jack Grealish making the £100 million move to Manchester City, they've reinvested, bringing in Danny Ings, Emi Buendia, Leon Bailey. I think Watkins is going to be available, but it's Buendia and Bailey who are set to miss out. But I think Ings is going to play up front. So, number one, how do we beat this Villa team? And number two, say someone said to you before the game, would you take a 0-0? Would you?
Yeah, 100% I'd take a 0-0. Because for me, 0-0, that means 1 point down, 39 points to go. And it's just about getting off the mark. And, I think, as Shane said, it really does set the tone when you start the season badly. And it's about, I take a point now if you offered it to me. It's better than a defeat, and it's better for morale than a defeat. Obviously, I don't want that all season going into every game. But I think for now, a point is good, I personally think. In terms of beating this Villa team, I personally think they're going to be stronger without Jack Grealish. I think obviously Grealish is a world-class talent. You don't go for 100 million without that. But I think, there's less reliance on one player. And overall, I think their team has got stronger over the last couple of years. I know even players they didn't bring in this summer, the likes of Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, Emi Martinez, really good business from them. And I really do. If I was a Villa fan, I trust their owners that they know what they're doing in terms of using the Grealish money wisely, which is why I am not slightly worried for the game, but can see them causing us damage on Saturday. But the flip side of that is that it is a new look Villa side, perhaps a new shape there as well. It could take some time to adapt, considering a lot of them have been injured in pre-season. So I think it's going to be a game that's going to be incredibly scrappy, not one for the neutrals to watch. But I think in terms of beating them and getting at them, for me, while I don't want to sound too harsh, but for me, Tyrone Mings is a liability for them. I think he had an okay season last season. Year before that, I think it was him you had to get at rather than Ezri Konsa. So I think if we get at him and hopefully run in behind him, then hopefully that will allow us to get in behind.
Yeah, I tell you what, mate, that leads on nicely. We'll go into our kind of starting 11s for Saturday. Before we do that, guys, if you're watching live, please do leave a like on the video. It massively helps us out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're watching this back, as always, let us know. We always read through the comments. Follow us on our socials at WD18 fans. Thanks to everyone who's watching at the moment. We've kind of drawn up our starting 11s. If we were Cisco Munoz, there's 3 Cisco Munoz duplicates sitting here. This is the team we would go for if we were in the dugout. You know what, Shano, I'll start with you. If you just run through your starting 11 that you'd go for, your formation, and then just run through your team. Okay,
so I know a lot of people have been talking about the formation. It's been a big topic, I guess, throughout the pre-season. A lot of people have said a 4-3-3. I'm actually going for a 4-4-2. I think we're going to line up a little bit more conservative on Saturday. I don't know why. It's just what I think. So my team we'll go Backman in goal. Back 4 of Kiko, Sirialta, Trusticon and Rose. Loser Etebo in the midfield. Sarr on the right, Semmer on the left, with Cucho and Troy up front.
Ooh.
Was that good? Was that?
No, well, yeah, wait. You know what? Emma Saunders has got to run for our money, mate. Get Shano on the
No, I've always wanted to do that. Like I'm genuinely. And number 3, Danny Rose. Number 9, it's your skipper Troy Deeney. I love that.
Big moves coming from Shane.
Sam, you want to go through yours, mate? That's an interesting call from Shane. So he's gone 4-4-2 with the front 2 of Troy and Cucho. What have you gone for?
So I've gone for 4-3-3. I've gone with what I think Cisco Munoz will go with, perhaps rather than what I'd want. So Daniel Backman in goal. For me, that's the only nailed down starter in the team with his Sarr. My back 4, quite different to Shane's actually. I've gone with Kiko Femenia at right back. I've gone with William Troost-Ekong. I've gone with Craig Cathcart because I think Sierralta hasn't had enough minutes in his legs this pre-season coming off the back of the Copa America. So it wouldn't shock me if Cathcart comes in. I'm going with Adam Messina over Danny Rose. I think Rose will be very good, but I think for now it's a case of seeing, letting him build up his fitness still. Also, wouldn't shock me if Jeremy Ngakia played over Kiko, just the amount that Ngakia played in pre-season. My midfield 3, I've gone with Peter Etebo. I've spoken about him before. I think he's going to be brilliant for us. I've just got that feeling. And I think the other 2 midfielders he'll go with, I think he'll go with Tom Cleverley, and I think he'll go with Dan Gosling as well. I don't know why I could just see him going with what he trusts.
Would you go for that?
Lose it.
Would you go for
No, I think nothing against Gosling. I just don't think it's necessary to play both Cleverley and Gosling. I'd personally go with Imran Loser or Domingos Quina. But I think it will be Dan Gosling, and I think the front three will be Sema, Deeney, and Sarr.
Ooh, interesting.
I will just make a quick admission.
Should I give mine? I could leave on a cliffhanger with Sam's team. You know what, mate? Mine's actually similar to yours. This is the team I would go for. I'd go for Batman in goal. I've gone Kiko. Let's just assume Sierralta is fit. William Troost-Ekong, Sierralta, Messina. Midfield three of Imran Loser at the base, Etebo and Cleverley. And then the front three of Sarr, Deeney, Cucho is what I've gone for. Look, I think you've made a really good point, Sam. It's so up in the air what team we could see on Saturday. It could be a 4-4-2, like Shane said. It could be a 4-3-3. I think what's interesting is what Xisco Munoz said today in his press conference, which is we are looking to build on the clean sheets that we got in the Championship, which suggests to me it's going to be a lot of counter-attacking football this season. Sam, have you read into those comments that Xisco made today about that? Because we built the foundations, didn't we, last season with the likes of Sierra and Troost-Ekong?
Yeah, I mean, I look at when Quique Sanchez-Flores came in his first stint, and we were looking to be hard to beat in the first bit of the season. We picked up a few 0-0 draws in the first couple of weeks, and I don't think he was too happy with I think I remember him not being too happy with the fact that we drew 2-2 at Everton but conceded 2 goals. So it wouldn't shock me the first few weeks if we're just looking to nick it 1-0. I think we'd all take a Deeney penalty to win 1-0 now on Saturday. Obviously, Troy Deeney's playing against Aston Villa as well, so anything can happen with that one. But I wouldn't read too much into press conferences. I've always said it. Managers will be trying to keep a poker face on or not trying to give too much away. So, yeah, genuinely, it's all up in the air, as you say.
He's just so lovely, Xisco. I look at him in the press. I just think, mate, you're just lovely. Lovely man. Shano, how should we approach Saturday? Is it about keeping it tight early on, no early goal, and just keeping it tight? And, not playing for a draw, but look, as Sam said, I probably would take a draw as well. Or is it looking to play a bit more expansive like we did last season, the Championship, or do we have to adjust our expectations as Watford fans? Is it going to have to be tight, similar to that for opening season, the Kike?
I think the first one I'll make is I actually forgot about Sierralta in the Copa America, so that's actually a really good shout. I completely forgot he was even there, and I forget about actually we have had some players out. I've included Sema in my lineup. He was in at the Euros and all that. So I feel like even though Xisco's come out and said what he has said in his press conference, I still think there'll be something in the back of his mind that says we don't want to be beaten too much, too badly. I would absolutely take a draw right now. The only question behind that then is, okay, what formation is best set up for us to maybe potentially not lose, but if we have the opportunity to nick the game late on. Let's say it's 1-1. Like, coming into the last 10 minutes of the game, it's 1-1. Do we go for it, or do we just sit back and play for a draw? Now, I think in the Championship, we personally would have probably gone and try and get that win. Will we do the same in the Premier League, first game of the season? I'd like to think that actually we would do that, because I feel like we'll have the players, not potentially this week necessarily. We've obviously got a couple of injuries in Pedro and in Josh King, but that's one of the very good things about the team that we have right now, is that there are a lot of options on the wing, a lot of options up front. If we want to change things up, we can do. You'd imagine Ashley Fletcher will probably be available at the weekend. You maybe bring him on last 10 minutes, go for it, try and nick a goal, plant the ball on his head, stick Sarr maybe slightly further up, stick him on that striker role, let him run past Tyrone Mings, as Sam said. He points out Tyrone Mings' potential weak point. You maybe commit him into a mistake, brings on a penalty, and Troy smashes it in, and I jump over the barrier and try and hug Troy, and then get sent away and never come back to the rookery ever again. Yeah, it's that kind of. It is that kind of thinking, though, isn't it? And look, I think from my perspective, a point would be great. It'd be interesting to see what kind of happens when we are in that position, because I think we can talk about it, we can analyze it, we can listen to what Xisco has to say. At this Villa side are still very, very dangerous. Danny Ings, back end of in our 1920 season, scored. I think I'm pretty sure he scored twice, didn't he? When we played, when they came to St Mary's, did Southampton, and oh
my God, those 2 goals we conceded from him.
It was a very, very painful day, and it was easy.
We're leaving 1920. We're leaving it.
No, we're leaving that.
But that's the kind of danger, though, isn't it? If you're not switched on at the back, Danny Ings is the kind of man that he'll nip in and will make you feel sorry for yourself. He is the man that will reduce me to tears on a Saturday afternoon. He has that clinical ability. But it all remains to be seen. And I think our defensive situation is also very interesting as well. Kafka, I love the man. I'm not sure about him, though. There is that worry at the back, maybe. If we're looking ahead to a potential signing that we could maybe make, I'd like to bring in another centre-back. I think I'm reaching for the stars there necessarily. I love Trust. I love Sirialta. I think those two guys are fantastic. But with Sirialta kind of getting himself back up to match fitness again, I don't know. I think it's maybe a little bit of a too far to kind of predict another centre-back to come in.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Shana mentioned Danny Ings, the striker for Aston Villa. One person who's getting a lot of chat in the comment section, Sam, is our striker, Mr. Troy Deeney, the main man. It's hard. It is so 50-50 with Troy at the minute in terms of there's half of the fan base. That's a very rough estimate, but there's half the fan base which is saying he has to start, and there's another half of the fan base which is saying you don't start him at all. Where do you stand on this? I think personally it'd be criminal not to start him against Villa because of his record, and we all know Troy Deeney turns up against Aston Villa. But what is your take on Troy? He looks in fantastic shape, but it is very split on him at the moment. What do you make of it?
I think it's such a difficult one. For me, I think Troy still has something to offer in this team. I think, at least for me, when we interviewed him, I think that had that kind of changed my perspective a tiny bit on him. I feel like there's a side to Troy that we don't see for what he offers for the dressing room. And I know there's the argument that you shouldn't put someone in there based on their leadership or experience, and you need to be looking at things that are stat driven. But I feel like experience is something that you can't replace in this team, and particularly against Aston Villa, we're going for we'll be playing Troy Deeney, a player who stayed up 5 consecutive seasons in the Premier League. It's someone who's got the know-how of this football club and how to carry teams in certain games. So I feel like in certain games, and particularly for the first one, I would start Troy Deeney. But in certain games where we'll be looking to counter-attack, I think I wouldn't play him because we're going to want to have pace going forward. But certainly for now, I would play Troy.
Shana, your thoughts on it as a massive Troy fan? What have you made of everything you're seeing at the moment online?
I think it's really interesting. I think first point I think to make on it is that we're not particularly blessed with a full squad at the moment necessarily. I think Zhao and Josh both been out are problems. I think I don't know how long Pedro's out for. It looks like a few more weeks until he's going to be back. Yeah, and that kind of swings it a little bit more, I think, in Troy's favour. Look, the minute I saw Villa was the first game of the season, I had no doubt in my mind that he would be the man to start up front. Whether he starts with a partner, I personally have advocated for him to start. I've gone with him and Cucho up front. It's going to be interesting to see kind of what sort of role he plays. I agree with Sam. I think he's got a part to play this season. But the one thing I have noticed with Troy is whilst he has, kind of looked in good shape and all that, I've noticed something else as well. He seems a lot happier for some reason. I've seen him on social media. He's a man who barely touches his Instagram. But actually, this summer, he's put up loads of pictures of him and the squad together. Like, there have been a few of him and some of the younger players. I think even in pre-season as well. I think he was putting up pictures of like some Matty Pollock and some of like our younger lads as well playing, and talking about supporting the next generation whilst keeping an eye on what I'm doing on my fitness side of things as well. I think he's got something to offer. I think it'll ultimately depend. I think if he hits the ground running on Saturday, if he does score a goal, if he does do what I know Troy can do, and we all know what Troy can do, when he's at his very, very best, I think there will maybe be a bit of a sway in the decision, but I think he's got to prove it as well. We've spoken a lot in the pre-season. I remember with Josh King and Ashley Fletcher, when we signed those players, it was very much point to prove. I think Troy's got a point to prove here as well. And I think it's very interesting, the fact that we've got those three players actually in the squad together. Now, as I said earlier, wing, up front, we've got so many different options. I think certain players that you think are going to maybe start up front will end up starting out on the wing. I think Zhao could maybe be one of those players as well. He can play on the left-hand side. We saw that 2 seasons ago. I think Joe could maybe play on the left-hand side as well. And that kind of frees up the middle park. And I think Adam Leventhal, has made comments about it, saying that it's between Josh King, Troy Deeney, and Ashley Fletcher for that central striker role. I think Jal might even have been included in that as well. But I think from the off, it's going to be between those three. I would personally start Troy against Villa. He has a good record against them. He enjoys winding them up, which is always fun to watch. And ultimately, look, let's just kind of take it from there. I do agree with Sam that I think when we kind of when the formation etc. kind of changes a little bit, then I think he can make an impact off the bench. Last 20 minutes, go for it. We've seen that so many times in the Prem. I remember when he came on against Arsenal a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
Came on, won a penalty, scored a penalty, and then he was part of the build-up for that winning goal as well. But there's going to be a lot of competition in there, and ultimately with Troy, he's come out and said he looks very fit as well. And I think as he has come out and said, it's actually quite a notable thing to say. There are players younger than me who have been struggling more with injuries, and I thought I'd be struggling, but I'm actually not. So watch this space is what I'm saying, because I think a lot of fans out there maybe don't want him to be involved. I think they're going to be a little bit surprised. I think Troy's got more than a bigger part to play than I think people would necessarily want to, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, Shano, he actually said those exact words, Troy, about him having a point to prove. He didn't say those exact words. He said that he felt like it was the old Troy. I think that was these exact words he said. I think it was in an interview with Tubes on Golf Life that he did.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Definitely go and check that out. And he just said, like, this is like the old Troy again in terms of how he's feeling about his game. So very interesting to see what happens with Troy. Sam, it kind of segues on to some team news. Obviously, Josh King is unavailable. Zhao's injured for the first couple of games. But I guess the big headline from the team news is regarding Nathaniel Chalobah, who's unavailable due to illness. Thoughts? What was your reaction to that one in the team news, mate?
Oh, I don't know. I imagine him and do you know what? I was thinking though that in terms of the,
you do seem every time I see you, I can see gradually getting more annoyed that this hasn't been kind of solved.
Yeah, I know. I said at the start of the last video that can we just Will Hughes and Chalobah thing? It's just boring now. I'm not saying Chalobah isn't ill, because he might genuinely be ill, but I don't know, whatever he has, I imagine Will Hughes is also suffering from the same thing. I mean, they're fully within their rights to go. I've got absolutely no problem with them as people. It's just that if they are going to move on, then can we just get it sorted? It's just getting just dragging on so much. Yeah. It's not good for the squad. It's not good for the fans. It's just it's just a nightmare. So wish them all the best, but just get it done. Get them through the door.
Just to chuck this kind of dilemma out there, Sam, we actually recorded a podcast that didn't go up. We're gonna be doing weekly podcasts here on WD18. So if you're interested in that, make sure you do follow us on the channel and obviously on all the various podcast platforms. Sam, we mentioned about what would you do hypothetically if both players stay? Do we freeze Hughesy out with the under-23s? Do we keep Chalobah and Hughesy in the first team setup? What would you do if you were at the football club?
It's so difficult because I feel like neither player are going to have kicked off or anything. I think they've just said that we're not signing new deals, and the club have turned around and said you're not going to be involved in the first team. I feel like, look, if it comes to the end of the window, particularly with Chalobah, I feel like they might have no option but to re-sign a new deal. But I feel like Will Hughes is slightly different. I think Chalobah is one that we could slowly reintroduce into the team. He'll have to have, I don't know, I think he's been training with the team. I'm not too sure. But Will Hughes, they've taken probably slightly longer to get up to speed. I could see him still staying in the under-23s and being exiled in there and probably moving on in January. But yeah, I just, more than anything, let's just get it sorted out. If they're going to go. If they're going to sign new deals, sign the contracts. It's gone on for too long now.
Yeah, agreed. Shano, just wanted to get your thoughts on that, by the way, just quickly on Chalobah and Hughesy.
Well, I'm kind of with Sam on it, really. I'm a bit fed up of it, to be honest. I really, really am. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the specifics of how I feel about both Chalobah and Hughes. I'd have thought this would have been sorted out by now. I think Adam Leventhal made a comment about it this morning in that Q&A, and he basically said, if Hughes doesn't sign, if Hughes doesn't get the move away, then he will be with the under-23s for up until January. Chalobah, a bit different. I have seen. I think on Insta he has been hanging out. I think he's actually been out with some of the players. I think in the squad. So it looks like some sort of reintegration is maybe happening there. Maybe realising that actually I might not be able to get a move right now. potentially a potential Capoue instance whereby he doesn't get the move in the summer, works hard, knuckles down till January, then maybe gets the move in January. I think Chalobah was linked last January, wasn't he, to Leicester City on the last one? I think it was on deadline day. That could potentially come back up again. The Hughes situation, though, is increasingly frustrating, and it's one that I think it's been a distraction in pre-season. You know, if it had been made public at the start, Hughesy, you want to move on. All right, in that case, please don't turn up to training. Let the lads carry on. I don't really get the point of him being at the training ground if he's so set on moving on. Like, distance yourself away completely, because I think it's had a bit of a distraction, in all fairness. I think it's distracted some of the fans as well. And, you know, Hughes was such a vital cog in our midfield throughout last season. We changed up the formation for him. I know he secured promotion with us, and it's kind of unfathomable that he doesn't want to stay. But it's even more weirder that a man in Nathaniel Chalobah who walked up Occupation Road, met the fans, shouted "You Orms," constantly at the top of his voice, looking like he was born like a stone's throw away from the ground, even though he's not. You know, it's just very. You know, if you contrast what you saw on that day to where you are right now, you'd think someone was lying to you. Like, you'd think someone's, you know, it's clickbait or something, but it's not. It's the real life that we've lived throughout this entire summer. So, look, Hughes isn't going to be involved on Saturday. Chalobah isn't. I think they're both destined for the exit door. If I had to do a genuine prediction of what I think will happen, I think Chalobah will probably stay. I think Hughes will probably go by the end of the transfer window. And I kind of said that early doors in my own mind when I saw some of the rumours. I was like, if he's not signed now, in the midst, after a promotion season, with the team back to the top division, the best division in England that he could possibly play in, then there's something wrong. Then he clearly doesn't want to be here. Have hope for Chalobah, though. I genuinely do.
Just a comment here from Lou Orns makes a really good point, Sam. Both Chalobah and Hughes are represented by former Watford players. There's still a chance they could re-sign. Obviously, I think Chalobah is represented by Fitzhall, and Will Hughes is represented by Paolo Bonazza. Just on that, Sam, I don't want this to take up the majority of the preview, but could Watford have actually dealt with this situation any differently in your eyes?
I don't know about that, because I feel like that when we got relegated, the wage structure sort of changed. And I think I read somewhere that players have to take a 50% pay cut. And you can't make exceptions for one player, no matter how good they are. And if that's been a problem in terms of contract negotiations, then, you know, I'm happy for the players to move on ultimately. But I don't know, we can't read too much, because I think it was Troy said to us, we only see 30% of what goes on or something out on the pitch. And I imagine this has been going on now for at least 12 months. I think I started reading that they were looking at getting Hughesy a new deal as soon as we got relegated, and he still hasn't signed it. So I think he's destined for the exit door, as Shane says. Yeah,
there's just something not, I think, as you say, Sam, we're not seeing the whole story here, because as we saw, I think it was the end of the season, someone did ask him a question, Hughesy, about the contract situation, and he said, I'm happy at Watford. It was almost a case of like, I'm not looking to leave. So look, it's something obviously that's happened behind closed doors. We'll have to wait and see.
He looked very, very forlorn in that under-23 game, and I saw the pictures of him on the bench. He looked like a defeated man. Like, he looked like something clearly just didn't seem very right. I think he was sat there on the bench, maybe just going through the motions, wondering what's kind of going on, really. It's just very bizarre, isn't it? It's so strange. So strange.
And yeah, just you wouldn't expect that situation to happen with Chalobah or Hughes, bizarrely. That's the weird thing I find with it.
Jacob, I just want to pick up on this comment quickly now. Our club has aspirations getting into Europe, but can't pay wages. It's a joke. Give them what they want rather than sign 9 players. Well, I said this in the last video. We're looking to build a sustainable football club now. If we're relegated, it's not the end of the world. And you look at the teams of Inter Milan and Barcelona, who are struggling at the moment with their wage bills. I'm not saying we're as big as them, although I'd hope that we are, but ultimately we can't be throwing money at every single situation hoping that it resolves it, because if Will Hughes doesn't want to be here based on the contract that we're offering, then let him go, because we can't make exceptions, because then we have players turning around who also have similar impacts as Will Hughes going, if he's getting this, then I want this. You have to have a sustainable football club where if the worst comes to us at the end of the season, we're relegated, we don't suffer as badly as we did last time we went down.
Shane?
I was hoping I wouldn't have to fill another question on it, to be honest. If I'm honest with you, as you can tell.
I missed your sigh more than the football.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, thank you, mate. One more time. No, look. I don't know, man. Look, I think if he's made it clear that he just didn't want to be here, why have we not just brought someone in already? Like, why are we sitting here, craving for a player in Hughes' position? The man should be here. He should be here. We've got someone. You're free to go. We can't have passengers. I think, as I've heard it quoted in many other places, we can't have passengers on for this season. We need players that are wholeheartedly committed to the main aim, which is survival. And if you don't want to be here, that's fine. I'm not going to weigh in on what club he should and shouldn't go to and all that sort of stuff, because we don't know the ins and outs of every single situation. But it's just so bizarre. And my honest opinion on it is, are we going to see him for the first game in September against Wolves at Vicarage Road? No, we're not. We're not. And I think he'll be long gone by then. If he's not, then there's going to be a very interesting player-club battle / war / falling out. And it's going to... I don't want it to, but it could turn a little bit nasty. We don't really want that. At least with Chalobah, I've seen him integrate with the team. He was at St. George's Park with the rest of the lads. He was training, smiling, looking like he wants to be involved, thinking, all right, things haven't worked out now. Maybe things will come back again. Let's see how it goes. Hughes, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's really, really scary.
Yeah, agreed. And look, Shano and Sam, we'll move just focusing just to wrap up the preview on Saturday against Villa. On a more positive note, Sam, how excited are you to see that front line of Cucho potentially, Ismail Sarr at Vicarage? I mean, look, I've missed football, but seeing Sarr bombing down the right-hand side is a sight that not a lot of fans are expected to see, opposition fans expect to see. But when you see him week in, week out, you take him for granted for a bit. When he gets going, he's unstoppable.
Yeah, they're players who get you on the edge of your seat, aren't they? I really, another thing I miss. I know I've said a lot about things I miss at the football. I think we're going to be saying this a lot this season. But it's when we get in behind and you see the whole rookery, the whole stadium getting up off their seats. It's those players at Sarr and Cucho and Josh King, and I can think of so many players in this squad who get you on the edge of your seat, get everyone excited, and I feel like that's a good balance we have in the squad. We have entertainers, we have grafters, and we have players who really will, give their all for this football club. So I'm really excited to see those players on the wings. I'm excited for the game. I'm excited to be back at the Vic.
Dana, before we get into predictions, first 3 games of the season.
Yep.
How crucial is Saturday? Because we've got Villa, Brighton, Spurs before the first international break. And Troy said it quite a couple of times, actually. I've read a few interviews. He said, we're taking each period is a 3-game block, 3 games international break, 3 games October international break, 3 games November international break, and obviously the Christmas period. But the first 3, you feel like Villa and Brighton, we have to be picking up 4 points? Is that too much to ask, or?
No, I don't think it is. If I'm honest with you, obviously I want it to be 6 because but. I think if we're being realistic, obviously it's got to be 4 points. I think, look, first 2 matches, we've got to aim to get our first win in the first 2. I personally think we can get something at Spurs. That's just me. I'm being nice and positive for once. But you can't. You cannot be going into that game, for me, with no points on the board. You have to have picked up something. Get a win on Saturday, get a win against Brighton. Either or, I would say. I think we'd actually do really well to pick up 3 points on Saturday. I want that to really happen, but as Troy has rightly said, it is about managing this season in blocks. I think blocks per month, kind of makes sense. October, again, it's another month, isn't it, of relatively favourable fixtures. October, all right, we face the first of the top 6 is Liverpool on the 16th of October. That's the first point where you're like, okay, big gun coming to the Vic. Obviously not one that we, have ever... not one. Well, one we've had pretty fond memories of. Let's say the last time we were all at the Vic, but you can't really be relying on those sort of matches. The games that you must win are the ones you've got to put in 100%, and we've got to get results in those games. And my real worry is, as much as I'm very positive, it's like a little thought in the back of my mind that is thinking, what if we don't do it? What if we don't start this first month positively? What happens then? Can we rebound in September? Yeah, of course we can. But are we going to? I think 2 seasons ago, I came away from that Brighton game, from the West Ham game, feeling a little bit like something's not right, something's not clicked. And ultimately, it never really clicked, did it? It never really, it's a bit like a train. It's going kind of off course now, but can we maybe steer it back on again? No, it ended up going off into like a field and crashed into like a lamppost or something. Like, it never got back on track again. And that's why the start of your season is so crucial. And Saturday's crucial for so many things. The Graham Taylor match day, of course, and a very emotional and incredibly reflective afternoon at Vicarage Road. But one tinged with, as I've said, sadness, emotion, excitement, nerves. But ultimately, I hope we're all leaving with a big smile on our face, because Premier League football's back, and so are we, the fans, at our temple, Vicarage Road.
Well said, Shane. Make sure you do bring your scarves on Saturday, by the way, for the Graham Taylor match. And it's an appropriate, literally the perfect fixture. Obviously, Graham Taylor managing both clubs in Watford and Aston Villa as well. So that should be a great occasion. First game back. Sam, we're going to wrap it up with score predictions. How is Watford's first game with 21-22 going to go?
I just had a thought. We should get a league going between us three in terms of the predictions. See who's got the most towards the end of the season. We'll keep you up. I'm going to go.
The old,
it's brilliant.
Potentially
I'm gonna go a boring Watford 0, Aston Villa 0.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go Shano with a 1-1.
1-1.
Troy to score.
All right.
Please.
I'm going to be really positive, actually, and obviously this is going to massively backfire, and I'm going to get like verbal threats on my way back home from Vicarage Road, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 Watford win. I think we'll do it. I think it will be a nervy kind of match. I'm not sure what we'll kind of expect, but I think we'll get that win. It won't be pretty. I don't really think someone's already gone.
I'll just play every single
one. Hopefully 1-1. I think I'll say 2-1 now. I'll change it. Sarr and Deeney. There we go. Yeah, I would probably agree with both of those scorers. Let's see what happens. But I'm going to start the season at least positively, and then slowly just fall off the cliff, just ever so slightly. For now,
let's go.
2-0 Deeney. Top draw. Thank you very much to everyone who watched today. We really do appreciate it. So many of you getting involved. The comments is probably some of the record comments I've ever got on WD18. So thanks for everyone who got involved. Make sure you do go and follow Sam and Shano on socials. Shane, you haven't even got your at on there, but the link is in the description at Hornet Shane and HNWD18.
You all know me, innit?
Everyone knows anyway. Everyone knows Shane.
Everyone knows Shane.
Everyone knows me, innit?
Thank you very much.
Just type in Shane into Twitter, come on. Just type in Shane into Twitter, you'll find something. Either my actual page or someone shouting abuse at you or something. You find it either way.
Make sure you give a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to WD18. Comment down below your thoughts, and we'll see you on the weekend for some more content. Match reactions, match day vlogs, all coming to you. We can't wait. Up the Hornets. Watford versus Aston Villa. Come on, you Horns.
Come on, you Horns.